recording. Everything, the flux capacitor is fluxing. We are on location for only the second time in the podcast. We're out at Doubleday Guitars, right? With Walker Doubleday. Thanks for having us here, man. This is a really cool place, dude.
Love to have you out here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Skunk is going to flex, and you're going to buy, what, 5 or 10 guitars? Is that what we're
That's right.
out here
I got
for?
about $10 in my bank account, and I think,
Podcast discount.
podcast discount. So, yeah, these guitars are obviously worth way more than $10.
Yeah.
Like, this is total boutique stuff. And Walker, we met.
About 8 years ago?
God, has it been that long? I don't think it's been that long.
Like 6.
I think, yeah, it's been probably like 2017, 2018.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
And I want to say, I was coming back from a show at what was the apartments over there across
The Element.
The Element Apartments.
Yeah.
Me and my fiance were going back to her place and just walked past this dude who's hanging outside, and maybe your roommate at the time or something.
Yeah.
And I had a guitar, and we just started talking, and I remember you pulled out an old Martin. Like, what year was 1937 Martin. And I was fiddling around with that. We started talking, and at the time, you were working for Collings Guitars. Is that right? Which you worked. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you became a luthier. Just give us some history on all that.
So I built my first guitar when I was 18 years old.
Maybe get a little more up on this.
I went to a boarding school in New Hampshire, and they had a wood shop class. So I love guitars, and I loved making things with wood. So I decided I'm gonna try and make a guitar. And nobody there had any experience making guitars or anything, so I kind of tried to figure it out myself. And it did not come out well. But so after college, I ended up graduating from Texas State, and I went to try to apply for Collings. And they said, screw you, you don't have any experience in guitar making, so why don't you go to Roberto-Venn School of Luthiery in Phoenix. It's a little 6-month program. So I went and did that and then applied to Collings. The only place I applied after RV. And that got me the job there. And it's all history from there.
Oh, cool.
Spent 8 years working at Collings and learned a lot there.
And that's here. Where is that located? In Austin somewhere? Or
Collings?
Yeah.
Collings, yeah, it's here in Austin. It's actually about 2 minutes from where we are right now.
Really?
It's real close.
Here we're kind of jerking, not Belterra-ish? Where are we?
Something like that,
Yeah,
right?
off Nutty Brown.
Nutty Brown.
Yeah. Right, okay.
Yeah. The new HEB.
Yeah. I'm excited about that thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's what that's going to be, what Nutty Brown was?
Yeah.
Man, I go that at New HEB that's just off 290 now because they're doing all that construction at the Y and all that.
Right.
And they finally shut that one down, and it's nice. But we're not here to talk about HEB. As Austinites, we do love HEB, let's be honest. But
I was just thinking because I think the last time we were there, we saw Dwight Yoakam.
Oh, at Nutty
Right?
Brown, which is
Yeah.
one of the last shows.
Oh,
Yeah, the last
Finally
shows.
saw Dwight Yoakam.
Yep.
Yeah, that was cool. With the big sequin,
Yeah.
the whole honky tonk.
That was a great show.
Done proper.
Yeah.
It's a shame that place is gone.
I know. Well, didn't it relocate?
I
don't know.
So. Maybe.
I don't think it's dead. I think it's just moving somewhere else.
Okay.
Until they decide to build an HEB at that location.
Right.
Again.
That's how HEB knows where to open up stores.
The HEB is just scouting like, this music venue is going to die. Pounce.
There's probably going to be a stage inside this new HEB.
That's what we need as Austin. Like, that's one cool thing about the airport here, all the places that have live music and all that stuff. Why not take that into grocery stores as well?
Well, some of the
Cut up a deal with a HEB, like all the bands that play there can only play Doubleday Guitars.
Right,
That's Yeah.
Sponsor.
There we go. Yeah. Some of them have bars in them. Like there's one HEB down somewhere.
Yeah, the new one off Riverside somewhere.
Yeah.
Why are we doing a podcast here? We need
I
to
don't know.
go to a
Yeah, I know.
HEB bar.
HEB bar.
So what we're going to do, too, I think in this podcast is just show a little bit. Obviously, you can see guitars in the background. I want to kind of talk about these, and then we're going to get a little bit of footage from your shop downstairs.
Awesome.
Just to kind of show the process and everything. But actually, walk us through, so when you're building a guitar, can you kind of tell us from start to finish sort of what the process of that is?
So I build the entire thing 100% by hand here. I mean, I use routers and power tools, but no CNC machines or anything. So I buy raw stock of lumber and get it from all over the country, different kinds of wood, mostly ash, maple, rosewood, alder. And that just comes in raw lumber. And I have a bunch of different tools and processes downstairs to shape the wood and get it processed to square stock. And then just a bunch of templates from there.
Right.
And following that with routers. And then when I get to the neck, it's all hand shaped, hand carved, hand fretted. Everything's all done by hand. And it's a slow process, but I don't take any shortcuts or steps or skip any steps and do it all the right way.
What's really impressive is just from when we kind of, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 months ago, whatever, when we kind of reconnected and I came and checked this place out, like just the progress. I mean, how long has this Doubleday officially, this location, have you been building your own guitars? It hasn't been that long.
Not
right?
long at all. Last October is when I left Collings full time.
Wow.
I started got this lease started here in October. So.
And it was, it was probably about a month after that when I came out here
right.
and hung out. And a couple of these guitars existed. And I know you sold several too.
Right.
But I was like, I mean, it's such like, you're not buying wood that's already like, oh, it's this body and this neck.
It's not a kit guitar. Yeah.
It's not a kit guitar. You're creating all that.
Right.
And so I was like mega impressed. And I know you're constantly doing this.
Every day.
Yeah, every day. But I'm like, wow, dude, like you said, your turnaround is what, 3 weeks-ish? Like
it takes around 3 weeks to get it.
That's really good considering all the work you're doing from the ground up with these guitars.
Okay.
Right.
And they're such high quality. Like I've played probably most of these.
Yep. There's a couple we still got to get your hands on.
Dude, like every single guitar is just like incredible.
I keep looking at that maple neck finish on the
surf green.
The surf green.
Yeah.
And that thing is just, I mean, looks like a mirror.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So I spent a lot of my first 3 months at Collings. I was in the buffing department. So I learned how to get a perfect mirror shine on everything. And
man,
everything I learned over there, I translate into what I'm doing over here. It's doing it the best you possibly can. There's no excuses.
There's like no waves, ridges, or anything. It's just like perfectly smooth. Man, that thing is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, flawless boutique guitars. Let's actually, what would be cool is to talk about these guitars. We can see pretty much all of them on the wall here. Yep. Can you tell us kind of chronologically where, from the first to the latest?
So this butterscotch T style up here is actually serial number 0. It's the very first Doubleday guitar that I made for this.
Ever going to be sold? Or
no, that's my personal one.
Okay.
That one, as well as this blue Strat here. It's made from the same piece of wood as one that I made from one of my best friends. So those two are my personal guitars. And then this dog hair finished T-style was one of the first 6 builds as well. It's actually signed by Gary P. Nunn.
Oh, wow.
He took that up on stage
guitar, man.
and played that one. Yeah, that one's awesome. And then...
Before you go on, woods. Tell us about the woods. What are the bodies? And those are all maple necks?
So yes, everything is a maple neck. This one's got a Madagascar rosewood fretboard.
Okay.
So every neck is maple, but it has the optional rosewood fretboard on top. The maple necks are one piece. There's no actual fretboard on them.
Wow.
Which is made just how they were in the 50s. Okay. So it's got the skunk stripe on the back to have the truss rod in there. All these bodies are ash aside from the blue Strat and the white telly up there. The blue Strat is alder and the white is Paulownia. Pick that one up real quick, actually, would you? Yeah. So Paulownia is a Chinese empress wood. It's in the balsa family.
Oh, this is light.
It's incredibly lightweight.
Crazy light, man.
So this one's just over 5 pounds, which is ridiculous for a solid. It's really resonant too.
Wow. Check that out, dude. Yeah, the playability of these things.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that insane?
Dude, it's immaculate. Like, I mean, there's you buy guitars and like a good guitar should be stock, like ready to go, right? But every now and then you're like, subtle nuances, like, I could do a little setup here or whatever. Like, there's no guitar I've picked up here that and there's, we're only talking about 10 guitars or something, but like every one is just like,
it's ready to go.
It's just set up perfect. Yeah.
That's what I like to do. You shouldn't have to take it to someone else to have more work done to it.
It's beautiful too, though.
It's the Mary Kay finish, translucent white. So I try to show off as much of the natural wood grain as I can. I'll do solid colors if the customer would like me to, but I use one-piece bodies on everything, so it's real nice to show off the one-piece grain. Adds to the resonance of it.
This guy, the purple telly body, let's talk about that, because that I just played when gorgeous. I got here.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a cool guitar. Now, that's the only one you have that's got an ebony neck.
Yes, an ebony fretboard, right? Too. It's a veneer fretboard. It's real thin on a standard maple neck, but ebony veneer. It's got jumbo frets on there. It's kind of a metal-oriented guitar, but it could still get some real classy tones out of it.
Definitely heavier.
Yeah, compared to the Paulownia.
No, there you go. Check that out, Vic. No. Oh, yeah.
That's more of your standard weight.
Oh, yeah. You can definitely tell the weight difference.
That's a cool, just futuristic, like, I could see, like, ZZ Top playing that in Back to the Future.
I'm trying to get Billy Gibbons on the hook right now.
Oh, dude, yes.
Texting him.
Gotta get Billy Gibbons, man.
He was just in Austin for the CMT Awards.
Oh, yeah? That was here?
Yeah, he was playing on stage with Slash and Cody Johnson, the singer.
Slash.
Yeah. They're playing some Leonard Skinner.
Yeah.
That's pretty
cool. It was really cool to see him, Slash, a bunch of Gibson artists playing a few years back at a NAMM show, playing with Don Felder, Hotel California.
Oh, yeah.
Just like crazy.
That's awesome.
All right, finish the interview. I'm just going to sit here and play guitar.
Plug it in.
Yeah, we will definitely plug these in so you can just hear how insanely awesome it sounds.
Yeah, I hand wind all the pickups here too, so every component, it's all made here. So
most of these guitars, okay, well, you got the traditional strap with the 3 single coils.
right,
I guess it's just these over here that actually just have the one.
some weird ones, yeah. So those two, it's more like an Esquire type of wiring. Mm-hmm. So you still have your 3-position switch. In the bridge position, you just have the volume control. And then in the middle position, your tone is engaged. And this one doesn't have it wired in yet because it just came in the mail today. But there's a capacitor that's going to go in for the neck position that gives like a half-cocked wah type tone.
Oh, wow. Cool, man.
So it's called the Eldridge mod for Esquires.
I love simple. Like,
yeah.
What, a zillion.
It's versatile for how simple it is.
Right. No, that's cool. And you still have options here, but it's not like, 15
right.
stuff to mess with. So what's going on with this one that we mentioned earlier with these pickups?
So those are Filtertron style pickups. Kind of like
those?
I make them. They're Gretsch style pickups, like the vintage Gretches. They're technically a humbucker, but they've got very low winds on them with a huge magnet, so they're pretty powerful for how low output they are, and they give like a real glassy, clean high end to them, real jangly. Sounds awesome.
We'll play some of these here in a minute. What are these retail for? What are you selling these for? Like, there's a couple that you're not selling, but what here is for sale, and what are they?
So everything other than those two is for sale right now.
Okay.
That's what I have on hand still. The T styles are starting at $2,500, and the S style are starting at $2,750. And then there's all different options that you can add on for like figured neck wood, or double binding, different finishes can add a little extra. Like the dog hair finish, people seem to love that one. It's a crazy finish where you can actually see the wood grain, but it looks like it's just painted on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like the one I want.
The dog hair?
Yeah.
It's classy. I've got another one hanging right there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that super light one too, that balsa.
Yeah, that's
Paulonia.
Vic. Right here, right? This is Vic. Is that what?
Oh, no, with the double binding up there.
Yeah.
The binding, that's
the tortoise binding, it looks nice on the white.
Yeah.
Now, how much like custom work are you doing for people? Are you getting orders where you're doing like you've got a couple right now that you're sort of customizing things? Is that kind of what you're mostly doing, or?
Yeah, everything's completely custom. Like, there's limits to how far we can go, but like currently I'm working on one it's a white telly style with all gold hardware, and so I'm coming up with a way to do like a gold epoxy pour for the binding with glitter in there to replicate kind of like the 60s Gretsch style sparkle binding, which they actually used drum wrap material back in the 60s because they had that left over from their drum production.
Really?
So you can't buy that now. So I'm trying to figure out how to make it myself.
Did you experience any supply chain issues stuff with all this?
Some of the hardware stuff has been harder to get, like just bridges and tuners. It's getting a little backed up. The saddles in particular, which is frustrating, but I do so much of it in-house that
Is that are all the parts made here, like in the U.S., or there's stuff that you're having shipped that's from other
I don't know
countries?
exactly where it's coming from. I buy it from a place in the U.S., but I think some of it's made overseas. Like all the Clusen hardware. Clusen went out of business in the 80s, I believe, and then in 1994, they were rebought by WD Music in Florida, and so I mostly use Clusen hardware, but I'm not sure where they're making it now. It was all made in America before 1980.
Okay.
But I doubt it now.
So you were with Collings for
8 years.
8 years.
Yeah. Yep.
But I mean, you played guitar before that. You're a player too. Like, so how did that transition happen from? Tell us just about your influences when you started playing guitar, like when that was, and sort of how that transitioned into the building aspect of it? Well, you kind of mentioned it earlier, but just kind of give us a little.
So it's funny. I'm the youngest of 3 in my family, and my older brother and older sister both had music lessons. My brother played guitar, my sister played piano, but they both hated it. So they did about 2 weeks of lessons each, and then my parents said, "Oh, I guess we don't have a musical family." So I never got any lessons or anything. But my grandpa had this old guitar that was under this table, and I remember when I was maybe 5 years old, I'd go climb under this table and just strum the strings, and they were completely out of tune. There's only 3 strings on it, and I loved it. But then in high school, my neighbor had a guitar. He's actually the one that has the matching one to that. And I'd go to his house every day after high school and just teach myself how to play guitar on his. And finally got good enough to where my parents would buy me a guitar.
And was that just sort of like by ear, you're just going there and plunking around, or
mostly,
did you ever
yeah.
end up taking any lessons or anything? Or
no lessons. We looked up tabs on the internet and just did it that way, watching YouTube videos, and taught myself all wrong.
What do you mean?
Well, I would only do up picking, which is weird.
I've noticed that. It's funny because I don't think most people necessarily intuitively do that, but I have noticed sometimes with like new students, like
want to go up,
and I'm still like, oh no, let's reverse that and then work on alternate picking. But it's funny how like some people just
pick
intuitively like do one way or another.
Right. And I remember was it Smoke on the Water, one of those cliche songs. I just played it with my thumb over the top of the neck.
Oh God! Oh, yeah. It's all the things that make the guitar teachers go, "Oh, Joe."
Yeah.
no, like this.
Right. I got better.
Yeah, man. I heard you play when I mean, you're gonna hear like just sick tone.
Yeah.
So, tell us what you got going on up here in the showroom studio, so to speak. Right, you got.
Amp-wise?
Yeah, like tell us about the rigs.
So we've got a Rivera knucklehead reverb on this side going through your standard Mesa or Marshall 1960. And on this side, we've got a Mesa Road King through the Road King cab, half open, half closed on this side. They complement each other super well. I've recently, just about 2 weeks ago, got this pedal so we can run both amps at the same time. And it just sounds huge. The whole wall is like a wall of sound.
Seriously, like that's the thing about like the tone is so good between everything you've got going here. Everything is just so perfect and dialed in. Like I can sit here with a guitar. Like you don't even have to play. I could play like 2 notes and be like, "That's just
sounds good.
Sounds freaking great." Like, and it's funny how inspirational that is too. Like,
right.
When you have a good setup and you sit down and start to play, it's just like when I my lazy sort of little combo practice at home, it's like, okay, fine, whatever, it's good enough to practice, but I'm not like super inspired.
Right.
As soon as I like walked in here, I was just like, oh my God. This is why I play guitar. This sounds amazing.
Right. And it's not like this room is acoustically treated or anything.
No,
it's just fun to crank it up and make some noise.
And how long have you been, maybe you said already, how long have you been in this shop?
Just since October.
In October, right. So in October is when you left Collings?
Yep.
And got this place and just started building, like just
exactly, transition. Yeah. Well, I'd actually been slightly building in my apartment with my fiance, and it was just like Dexter, the TV show. I'd hang plastic sheets from the walls to maintain the dust, and my fiance was a trooper for dealing with it and cooking with sawdust and everything. And she threw some fits.
Is this garlic powder? Sorry, that's
sawdust. Right. Different woods taste a little different, but
to the flavor. It's going to be a while.
So it was a huge blessing to be able to get out of the apartment and get this full shop space and be able to work full production. And I built a spray booth downstairs on spraying everything
on the way in. Yep.
So when was your first guitar complete? Was that?
It was 2019 when the first one came out. So I was still at Collings, obviously,
but that's when you started building. That was your first Doubleday guitar,
right? I actually kind of started this whole venture over at the Element. Like I got the first drill press, and my buddy Austin and I that lived together. It didn't hardly go anywhere because we were just constrained on space.
Right.
But it's been in the works for a long time. But then just finally getting the whole shop space available to do this full time. It's really when it's been able to blossom.
Once you got the space, did you already have all the gear you needed, or are there still things you're getting, or do you have?
I have pretty much everything now that I need. But yeah, that was the first 2 months being over here.
So it was really just the last element, so to speak.
Exactly.
Was getting the building,
right?
Having the space.
Collings was great. While I was there, they would allow us to come in on Friday after work and Saturday mornings to do personal projects. Oh, cool. And so we could use a lot of the tools over there in the spray booth. So that's how I was able to get the first 6 finished. but being able to do everything here in one roof is really allowed it to grow. We've got a little photo booth over here. Those things all pulled down. So my fiance's a wedding photographer, so she takes all the pictures up here. And
oh yeah, so where can everybody find you online? Obviously, Doubleday Guitars. If you Google it,
DoubledayGuitars.com.
Crushing it on social media, man. You've got all kinds of cool content up, so it's very engaging. But yeah, go ahead.
On Instagram, Doubleday Guitars, Facebook, Doubleday Guitars, basically anywhere, Doubleday Guitars. I don't have a Twitter.
Why should you? No. Yeah, you don't have a dumpster fire account,
right? But yeah, I sell everything online. DoubledayGuitars.com. So there's a shop through there where you can buy a guitar or order a custom build. So I'm not in any stores right now. There's one guitar hanging at Straight Frets on South Congress, and Danny Shoemaker, the owner of that repair shop, is a good friend of mine, and helping each other out with that. But I'm trying to avoid selling in any shops just because of commission charges.
Yeah.
So it's pretty hard to do anyway. Like maybe a little simpler local, but I know the big chains, I feel like
there's no way.
There's just like, that's going to be really hard to get into anyway. Now, what about sites like Reverb and stuff like that?
I've got them listed on Reverb now too, which they take a big chunk of the sale as well.
Really?
So
you're trying the more you can is just in-house and through the website.
Exactly. Obviously. Yeah. And it's awesome for people to be able to come up here and just take them for a spin.
Yeah.
Try them out.
What are some, you got some guys right now that are playing your stuff out there, like kind of getting the word out? Like, do you have any certain artists right now that are pushing it?
Shane Smith and the Saints, a local country artist, they're getting real big. His lead guitarist, Dustin Schaefer, is playing a Doubleday Starling model, which I just finished this one for him about a month ago.
Cool.
And he played the Austin Rodeo that night with it.
Oh, nice.
And they're headlining Red Rocks in May.
Nice,
so
dude. Hell yeah.
That'll be some big exposure, stage time.
Excellent. Cool, man. I feel like I know like so many guitar players that have, deals and this and that, but I guarantee like any one of those guys, especially in the country realm, and like yours are kind of geared toward that, although I think these guitars are versatile and work with anything.
Right.
I play a bunch of hard rock metal stuff, and I love Telly. It's one of my favorite style guitars, and these guitars,
you can make them rock.
Yeah, big time, man. So I mean, it's funny enough. It's like the one style of guitar that I've always been saying I want to get this one, and I never have.
Right.
So it's just like seeing your builds, I'm just like,
they're tempting.
But like, I think there's obviously for a lot of stuff in Texas and that country sort of market, these are perfect guitars.
Exactly.
And, I think it's just a matter of like people getting them in their hands, finding out about the name, and like
just feel the quality of them.
Dude. Like,
right.
Just like
there's a million people building them.
Any of these guys not being like. The only reason I feel like anyone wouldn't play it is because of like contractual obligations to some company,
Yeah.
Well, cool. Let's play a few. And
sounds good.
Actually, that one's got some bite.
Yeah, that pickup is wound real hot. I'm a better builder. I'm a better builder than player.
Dude, I heard you playing, man. You can play. Like, I love that it's not. I love the balance which you have in the toggle between the like. There's a difference, but it's not super extreme. Like, it's a nice, smooth transit. You know what I mean? Like, you got some hard bite here, but it's not like it just turns to mud.
Right, yeah. So that's the Eldridge mod. It's got, like, the half-cocked wah type tone to the neck position.
Okay.
And then,
it's the same one you're going to put that lilac one.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So I'm going to experiment with different capacitor values to kind of tweak that tone a little bit. But it's versatile for how simple it is.
Okay, pick a key.
Pick a what?
Pick a key and don't be a dick.
A minor.
Do a little 12 bar and A or something?
Sure, yeah.
I was going to say D. Was it D? Drop D.
Oh, God.
Something in Dorian, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know that much.
We'll get that 6 in there for you then.
That was
one note. That's all.
there you go.
That's all you need, right?
Dude,
I feel like we should get you playing through both amps.
that was smooth. That was
Down
smooth.
to do that.
Hey, that
We'll talk a little more and then play out that way.
thing was
That was
just
fun, dude.
so warm sounding, man. It was just- that was awesome.
To bypass over here. Tuner, chromatic tuner.
Yes.
Are you doing the amps on standby?
This one's on standby right now because it's going straight in.
Do I need to put this one on?
It doesn't matter. If the tuner's on, it's fine.
Do you have a favorite of your guitars?
Oh, that's tough.
That's a terrible question. It's like asking someone if they have a favorite guitar player.
It's like
My favorite child.
asking Skunk which one of his music projects is his favorite.
Right. I mean, they're all totally their own animal, so
Yeah,
it depends on what mood I'm
That's
into.
like asking Skunk which Steven Seagal movies.
That's right. They're all my favorite.
They're all your favorites. Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, let's go off guitars for a minute. What's No, let's stay there. Now I do want to. I am curious though about this random stuff, but like favorite players. Well, what are some of your biggest influences player wise?
Slash has always been one of my favorites
Yeah.
for sure, and Jimmy Page. I mean, I love the '80s and late '70s classic rock stuff. I've never really like followed any individual player too much. I kind of just do my own thing, honestly.
Yeah.
But
In terms of just playing guitar, like learning stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, Slash, man. Guns N' Roses was really a huge turning point in my life in general. That's like I discovered that Appetite for Destruction album,
so good.
and I was just like riding around my bike with my Walkman on for weeks, months on end, just like listening to that album, like running
Right.
around the living room with fake microphones singing along, and I was just like, I want a guitar.
There's some incredible stuff on there. I never thought I'd be able to play any of it. But
Yeah.
I can't write the way that he does, definitely, but I could half my ass through some of those
So
solos.
it's like, is that like, do you kind of learn that way in terms of just like figuring out, like kind of learning some basic patterns and
Exactly,
and
yeah.
chords, and then sort of like by ear
Try to
or
tweak
internet-
that. Yeah, right.
Internet tabs, which have gotten considerably better, man. Remember those like old tabs were just so bad on
They're
there.
all wrong.
They're all wrong, horribly
Oh, yeah.
wrong.
And then you go try to find it again, and you find a different version that's a totally different way.
different keys,
Right.
and it's just like the weird thing about that too is when you read music and just the basic understanding of what these different things and markings mean in tablature, music, whatever. It's like then you see the internet and you're like, okay, it's a bunch of numbers, but I don't know this system for whatever the hell this shit's supposed to mean, right? Like, oh, there's a B on top.
I took a piano class in college, and I had to learn how to read sheet music, and I can't at all anymore. That is a foreign language to me.
Yeah, a language is exactly what it is, too. Yeah, so what's your favorite Steven Seagal movie?
I couldn't say a single one, honestly.
This interview is over. This guy has terrible taste.
He can't name just one. That's what he meant.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
it's like the question in what was that movie, Office Space?
Office
It's
Space.
like, what's your favorite Michael Bolton song? They're just all my favorites. So.
I celebrate the entire catalog.
my favorite movie is definitely Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Really? Hey, by the way, so speaking of that, you made me think. Did you ever see the new one that came out?
It's horrible.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
I've totally.
I haven't
forgot
seen
all
it.
about
Yeah.
It's awesome that Keanu Reeves and I forget the other guy's name. But they're in it.
Yeah.
They're old.
Aren't they like dads now or something? It's like their daughters. Or
Yep, exactly. It's like the Disney version of it, basically. It's not good.
So okay, what are some other movies you're into?
Oh man, I don't know.
Never watched movies. Too busy building guitars. No time for fucking
My
movies.
brain only thinks about guitar stuff.
What's your latest Netflix? What's your latest serial killer Netflix binge?
We do watch a lot of serial killer stuff.
Is it you or is it your fiance? Because, dude,
She
as a
definitely got me
general
into it.
Like,
there.
love
Yeah.
true crime drama shit. Man.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
I don't know, but Dateline, CSI.
Yeah.
They're perfecting it so
and
they
then
don't get caught.
The
That's
serial
why.
killer stuff,
Yeah.
which is just all over Netflix.
CSI, all
I'm
that
always like,
stuff.
this is so morbid and it's part of the problem with our society, and this is just sick. And then I'm like, Dahmer, hit play.
Right.
Yeah, it's like annoying.
Yeah, we watched that one.
The whole, what was it? The hotel. What was the hotel?
Oh, the
one?
Cecil.
The Cecil.
with that,
Yeah, there's been a bunch of crimes happening there.
yeah.
All kinds of.
Well, now apparently there's a Austin serial killer. Have you guys heard about this?
Yeah,
I
I
don't
saw
know if it's
that.
accurate or
Yeah,
not.
it's
but,
like
They won't
rumors.
say it's a serial killer, apparently, but
yeah. Well, I mean, I can see that. It's like you don't really want to be like, "Hey, everybody, serial killer," right?
Everybody panic.
But
Yeah.
it's at the same time, it's like maybe like be a little extra cautious. Like let's
don't go
Stay
to
away
Rainy
from the
Street
water.
and get drunk. And
That's kind of what they're thinking. It's rainy because
Rainy
it's a bunch
Street.
of stuff in bodies in Town Lake, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's people. Yeah, it's like guys coming from Rainy Street, and then all of a sudden they find them in the lake.
Oh,
couple
but
days
there's a
later.
connection where they were all on Rainy Street.
Yeah.
Interesting.
which is close to the water.
It is close to the
That's
water.
true. Yeah. So. Well, but
We can do some internet sleuthing.
dude, that's like the most annoying thing.
I know.
Internet sleuths. It's like,
know.
then again, half the time, like you see like this horrific botched cop work. Like this is a constant theme in these cases. Like, oh, this guy could have been caught, but the cops did nothing.
Right.
Blew it off, and the judge was. And then you're like, oh, so
I listened
those
to this-
15 people might have still been alive if these assholes had done their job. So
I listened to a podcast called Small Town Murder, and they're just making fun of these small town police forces that screw up the investigation horribly.
constantly.
It's too common.
So speaking of murder and comedy, have you guys seen Murderville?
No.
Dude, that show's awesome.
What's
I
it
highly
on?
recommend Murderville. It's on I think it's Netflix, and it's Will Arnett is like the main guy, Detective Terry Seattle, and he's like, oh, dude, it's we probably talked about it last time.
Oh yeah. It's like guest stars coming
Yeah,
on. They're
these
just
guest
total
stars who don't-
ad-libbing, right?
Yes, they don't know
Shooting
what's
from the
going
hip.
on, and the cast kind of does them. It's sort of like ad-libbed. And,
Oh, man.
So like, there's like Conan's on one, and like Marshawn Lynch is on one, and like they have to like solve this crime, and Will Arnett's just kind of like fucking with them the whole time.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, man.
I thought it's like one of the funniest shows I've seen in a
I'll
while.
have to check that one out.
Man, what else you got? Like, what else should we talk about in relation to guitar? That's cool over there. Just kind of seeing the whole frame.
That
of
top,
the body.
yeah. So that was a Collings guitar top that was supposed to go to NAMM and didn't make it out the door, so we had to cut the top off and put a new one on. But I carved the braces on that one, did everything on the acoustic body. So I didn't want to leave it in the trash. I grabbed it.
Were you doing it? I'm actually glad you said that with acoustic and electric. Does Collins do both? Or
They do acoustics, electrics, mandolins. They used to do some ukuleles, but not really anymore. And I was only an acoustic builder over there.
Oh.
I didn't know anything about the electric department
So how
at
much of
all.
a transition was that to start building electric guitars?
The neck profiles and the way the neck works is really similar. So getting all that geometry lined up is pretty similar. And then the body, just one solid piece of wood, just takes out all of the bracing and the
So it's
acoustics.
actually
It's
way more
simpler. Yeah.
You get the wiring aspect, but
right.
It does sound like I guess it is a simpler build.
Exactly. So a lot of people think it's harder to make an electric, but I would say
no, you're right. That makes a lot of sense because you don't have to worry about all that shit.
With an acoustic, you're building the amp and the guitar at the same time.
Are all these solid bodies, or do you ever do any chambered?
I've done one semi-hollow. The one for Shane Smith's guitarist, Dustin, is a semi-hollow, which adds to the resonance a little bit. It makes it really light, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But I do offer them. Aside from the weight advantages, it's pretty similar tone.
And that was a request that he had for a custom build?
Yeah. So he designed the thing. I think he'd been planning on this guitar for a decade. It's always been his dream guitar that he used to draw pictures of.
And how did you guys connect?
So I met Shane Smith in Colorado at the Steamboat Music Festival, and we were up after all the shows, having a lot of drinks, and just started talking. I said, I'm from Austin. I'm a guitar maker, do repairs and whatnot. And we just connected, exchanged phone numbers. And a couple months later, his tour bus ran over his acoustic guitar and absolutely obliterated it. It was like this super rare vintage Gibson. And he said, well, what can you do? So he called me up and I told him I'd try. So I salvaged pretty much everything from this guitar that I could, and basically rebuilt an entire guitar using the old parts as much as I could. And he plays that guitar every show to this day.
Wow.
So
that's pretty incredible. Like, that happened to my guitar, not a tour bus. I wish. I wish I had tour buses to run over my shit, but a tour van backed over my Les Paul.
Oh my God.
Mutilated it. And there was a guy out in Wembley who the second time and I since said I retired it, but I did play it at one other gig. But it's incredible. Like, the body was like out, the headstock was cracked, everything was just mutilated, and it was fixed and still plays.
All back and playable.
And I know those guitars are already notorious for easy breaks.
Right, the headstock, right? Definitely. And,
but that's really cool, man. So after that, then you fixed that.
So guitar, actually, while I was fixing that guitar, their tour bus caught on fire.
Oh my God!
So everything else they had got burnt up.
Golly, man.
Luckily, I hadn't finished rebuilding this one for him, so I gave that back to him, and it survived that. But Dustin, the lead guitar player, his Strat got burnt up in that fire. He still has that, and he plays that one too. But so just the whole band, I've connected with all of them through all these experiences, and they've been so kind to me. They're all great guys. I've done a lot of repair work for their bass player as well, Chase.
Okay.
And
so that's something now. Obviously, your main gig is building, and you want to build and do. But do you do repair work for people?
I do, yeah.
So if someone had a guitar in bad shape, like, they could call you, and it's something.
I could do it.
All right.
I'm definitely trying to focus more on the building aspect, and because I can make more money doing that,
right.
And it's less of a pain in the ass, honestly.
What are some other luthiers in town outside of Collins guys?
There's a ton, yeah. I mean, Danny Shoemaker over at Straight Frets, he's a great guy for any kind of repair work. He's got the Plek machine, which I don't know if y'all are familiar with that. It's like a robot that does perfect fretwork.
Oh shit!
Okay.
It's a real expensive machine that reads everything that's going on with the fretboard and can cut the frets to within, I don't know, 100,000ths of an inch.
Wow.
So,
do you know Brady Muckleroy?
I've heard the name.
Yeah, dude.
Definitely.
Bass player, and he makes basses. So, guy that plays in Good Rogering, Sammy Alvarado. He learned from him, and he builds his own basses.
Danny was telling me about him a couple days ago.
Muckleroy?
Yeah.
Dude. I just played. He did he was playing bass in the house band at Saxon Pub for this songwriting group called 1159, Dave Madden's songwriting group, and so I was lucky enough to get to jump on stage and play with them.
That's awesome.
I was kind of excited, like, not even from the playing standpoint. I was like, oh, you're Brady Muckleroy.
Yeah.
I know him as a builder, right?
That's cool.
What about like NAMM shows and stuff like that? Is that something you want to do in the future? I know that stuff's kind of
expensive,
and
definitely.
hard to do, but
so I definitely want to get there, and the exposure's everything, especially trying to sell everything without dealers. I just have to get the name out there. So eventually, I definitely want to be doing NAMM. There's the Dallas International Guitar Show coming up next month. Which I'm hoping I can be able to do. It's getting to the last minute here, but
to like submit and get. Is that like NAMM? I've never been to that, where you have like a booth.
So it's like a 10x10 booth is about $1,000. It's pretty pricey.
For a day. Is that a day or
I think
weekend?
it's the weekend. Yeah.
Okay. That actually doesn't sound bad compared to what NAMM probably is.
What is NAMM? What's the process for NAMM?
I don't know NAMM.
Same type of thing. You got to like submit like, hey, I want a booth at NAMM, and
This is my
Right.
stuff. And the big companies, obviously, some of them have their own rooms.
Oh,
some
yeah.
of them have huge real estate on the main floor.
stages
But
Yeah.
there's a lot of companies with those smaller booths, you know.
Cater, yeah.
Because it's crazy expensive. You
Definitely.
know? But that would be awesome, man. To
I need
see a
to.
NAMM show.
Right.
If you're ever doing a NAMM show and you want
Yeah.
someone to do demos, man, let me
Come on.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm more than happy to.
Do they still do 2 a year, or is it just the one that they're doing in Los
that's
Angeles?
a good question.
I think it is still 2. There's
Is
a
it
winter
2?
and a summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Nashville one, all I know is, I've been going consistently for years, more or less, to the Anaheim ones. And I had been to a few Nashville ones, but it had been over a decade. And then when COVID hit and everything shut down, like that winter NAMM had already happened in 2020, and then they canceled the Nashville one.
Right.
Nothing happened. And now they're on this weird thing where it was like last year was June. This year is actually like, April.
Right.
And then I think next year it finally gets back to normal, like a January, like a normal NAMM show, like where they usually have those. And I guess the Nashville ones have resumed, but I just haven't paid
Yeah.
And it's funny because, we were talking about Rivera and how I got the first generation Knucklehead used. But I had, the first time I came across a Rivera amp was at a boutique shop here in Austin, probably 15 years ago-ish. And I was like, wow, man, this is a great amp. I was like shopping around, kind of looking at Mesas at the time. And then I met Rivera's at the Austin NAMM show in 2007, like that far back. I think they did maybe 2 years in Austin, and we're just like, I guess it wasn't like happening. So, although Austin, just in that amount of time, has exponentially grown.
Annoyingly,
I feel like it's almost annoyingly.
Sorry, did I say that out loud?
I got here.
You live down in Kyle, like you're far enough away from.
I'm far enough away from the craziness, but
at least for now.
For now,
It's spreading.
It's spreading.
Yeah, it's funny. Like Austin now is like, it's I get I'm like fascinated with like maps and cities and populations and shit like that. And I didn't realize some of the cities you thought were like really big or kind of like, not what you like. San Jose's huge though. San Jose is in the top 10 right next to Austin.
What's the population there?
Over 1 million. It's got it because we're probably about 1 million here now.
Yeah.
So,
they're big tech industry.
Tech industry, yeah. Well, that's all the big, like so many of the big. I mean, Austin and San Francisco or San Jose, bigger than San Francisco. You got cities like Phoenix, which is huge.
Yeah, it's like Phoenix and Tucson, right? Like to the south, I think.
Yeah,
kind of that joint, like Dallas, Fort Worth.
I think they're a little over an hour apart.
Yeah,
not super close.
What, Phoenix and Tucson?
Yeah,
they're not too far. Maybe a little more than that, but. Yeah, I mean it's the tech, whatever the tech cities are, right?
Boom.
Yeah, tech cities. There's a lot of jujitsu's come to Austin too.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I saw some. Where was I? I was in Houston a few weeks ago or a weekend ago. I saw some like Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. There's tons of Gracie stuff everywhere now, man.
Well, a ton of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So, how's all that going, Vic?
It's busy.
Are you working there now? You're teaching, right? Coaching.
I'm coaching. Yeah, I'm doing 2 classes a week at 6 a.m.
Oh, Jesus, man.
Yeah.
I was about to be like, yeah, dude, I want to come. No.
Well, we got
Jiu-Jitsu at 6 a.m.
6 a.m. 6 a.m.
Jesus.
Tuesday, Thursdays. So if you want to train at 6 a.m. with me, that's fine. That's cool. Come on out. But we've got other classes like that same Tuesday, Thursday. There's a 10 a.m. And
10
then
a.m. seems manageable.
Yeah. And sometimes I teach those if I can like sneak out of work, right?
Yeah.
So I'll come in and teach a little bit or coach. And then Mondays and Wednesdays we have a 6:30 p.m. And so I usually don't coach those because we have other coaches that
Atomic Jiu-Jitsu is what we're talking about. They're gonna have to become a podcast sponsor by default.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. And then we just added, we've had Muay Thai on the schedule for a while.
Really?
We just added wrestling, so we're a certified wrestling school. Yeah.
And this is all in the last few years, just blown up.
Yeah, well, this is all this past year we've added more classes, more coaches. We've added the wrestling curriculum, and we're changing some stuff up a little bit. So yeah, like this month is the first month that we're starting to kind of revitalize the curriculum. So, but it's cool. Yeah, it's fun. Keeps me busy.
Are you Walker a 6 a.m. builder? Do you come in here at?
Sometimes I'm here at 4.
Really?
If I can't sleep, I'll get up and just come in.
Damn. How much time do you spend in the shop per week? I mean, this is your full-time gig?
This is all I'm doing, yeah.
Because I see your content. It's
right.
It's a lot.
I mean, there's definitely 12, 14-hour days over here.
Yeah.
There's no reason to go home. I just want to be here working.
Yeah.
So basically go home and sleep and eat and come back here and do it again.
I don't know if we talked. Did you say what your next build was or what your current? Oh, the white one with the gold.
Yeah, I've got that one going. I've got that one and another black one downstairs. Two double bound tellies.
Let's look at some of the like in the works sort of.
Is that hollow body one you're working on?
No, that's a kit guitar. My fiance got me.
Oh, okay.
Grab these two.
Oh, another dog hair finish. Right.
So these are both.
Dude, I love these, man. And like with the whole skunk thing, like that's to me, it's like that's perfect.
Right.
Like
looks like a skunk.
Black and white on it. It's like super cool, man.
So this one is actually a new model, the first original design that Doubleday is coming up with.
Okay.
Which will be called the Buteo model. All the models are named after Texas birds.
Oh, cool.
So this is kind of like a hybrid between like a Les Paul and a Telly, little offset, kind of jazz master influences in there.
Yeah.
So it'll have Telly hardware, Telly neck, and I'm thinking a P90 in the neck as the standard pickup option.
Okay.
So a little different than your standard. It's a nice curvy body to it.
I like it. Yeah.
Check out the because he was showing me this earlier. Look at the color. It looks black, right? But check out the color.
So if you put some light on it,
it looks like there's a little bit of
turn on. There it goes. So it
like a dark cherry.
Right.
Yeah.
I made a post recently saying what color is this, and the most common answer was black cherry.
Okay.
Which is a good answer. There it goes. Yeah, it's a cool one. So I'm actually talking to Premier Guitar, and they want to know when I'm releasing this model, so we can potentially do a press release on it.
Cool.
So that should be awesome.
How'd that come about?
My good friend Graham owns Fano Guitars, and he told me I need to submit these guitars to get reviewed by Premier Guitar.
Okay, cool.
So I submitted a request for that Strat, actually, and they were basically like, well, we need a new line. So whenever you come up with a new model, let's talk.
Cool.
And I said, well, in about 2 months, 3 months, I'm going to have this new model coming out. So he said, well, let's talk then.
So is this 3 body styles then?
Yes.
That you offer? Okay, like the Telly, the Strat, and then what did you call this one?
Buteo.
Buteo. And what are the actual names that you have for the other two?
So the Telly is called a Broadwing, which
plays
on the original name was the Broadcaster.
Oh, okay.
And then the Strat is a Starling.
Starling. Okay.
Also Texas birds.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Okay.
So real Texas themed, They've got Texas branded on the headstock.
What's your I don't know, I asked this earlier, like what the process, like where do you start and where do you finish? Obviously you're not starting with like electronics, but I mean it's pretty straightforward. Like you do the body first and the neck, and then
I like to do the body and the neck at the same time. So the neck pocket is made specific to the neck that goes with that one. They're not just randomly interchangeable. Mm-hmm. It's an exact fit to that neck. So I make them together and then put them through the finish process together at the same time. So they cure at the same time, and everything happens at the same time. And then I do something interesting with all the cavities for the electronics are done after the finish is done. It's already buffed out and done. And then I'll wrap the cavities.
And is that not standard? Like normally they would cut those out
before
the finish. It seems kind of
interesting.
What's your reason for doing that?
It makes everything so much easier and it's way cleaner looking. Because if you have all these holes in the guitar when you're spraying the finish, it's going to get in there, and there's no way to sand that and get it real clean looking. And it makes sanding and buffing a pain in the ass because the buffing wheel will catch those. And it messes a lot of things up. So I do it afterwards. I've got these holes to where everything registers. So I can do a real clean route afterwards, and it looks real nice. I don't think I have anything that's routed right now.
So out of the whole process, the longest part is the shaping and cutting, and this
the finish process,
finishing it, and what do you mean, like the
spraying the finish? Yeah.
So how does that work? Tell us about that process.
So there's like 3 days of spraying coats, and it's four coats per day.
Damn.
And you have to sand in between each day.
Wow.
So you're sanding with multiple different grits multiple times. The sanding takes forever. But then once it's all done being sprayed, it has to cure for 2 weeks. So that's the longest part of the process, is just waiting for the finish to cure. So then I can buff it after that.
Right.
So you wait on that. It's for 2 weeks. Then you buff it out, and then you come in and do the cavities for the electronics.
Yeah.
And is all this pre-headstock? You're doing all that, and then is that it's like a?
Well, this is just a holder for
for the neck. But I mean, when you is that so the headstock that's all attached?
Yeah, I mean the neck is just one piece. Grab one. So this is a neck that's gone through the finish process, and yeah, the headstock's on there and everything. I mean that's all one piece.
Okay.
With this one, I believe has the Brazilian rosewood fretboard, which is awesome.
Yeah, dude.
So yeah, that all gets sprayed at the same time, and same thing, just lots of sanding in between spraying coats. Just
This
keeping
all
it
numbered. You have all your guitars numbered on the back.
Yeah, so I just handwrite the serial number on
Isn't
there.
that cool? Like, number 23, numbers it right. We're just looking at like one day, like you'll have like thousands of guitars, and it's like right now we're looking at the originals, the first.
So one day these will be worth a lot of money.
Yeah, dude.
The original handwritten ones. But yeah, the logo is branded onto the headstock. It's not like a sticker or like
or painted or anything.
Yeah, like a stencil. I've got a branding iron downstairs that I push on there and burns it into the wood. Just looks real nice.
That is a slick looking logo. That is cool.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah. Who did your logo?
I designed that actually
You did?
on a
Wow.
little online app designer thing. Ended up coming out pretty awesome.
Yeah, that looks great, dude. So you get that. So all this is done, and then you assemble the neck headstock together with that. Is that later that you do that, or is that already put together when you're doing the extra body?
So yeah, I'll do all the routing and everything, and basically build them separately, and then attach them at the very end.
That's kind of the last thing is the attachment of the head,
and then the final setup of that.
Okay.
So,
what your wiring? How long does that stuff usually take?
Oh, that's quick. That
Quick.
20 minutes.
And each one's just a kind of like how do you decide on? I guess obviously you can do custom jobs for each, but you have a standard sort of radius and frets.
Well, that's like part of the options of whatever any customer wants. It's kind of like Whataburger. So like I don't make it till you order it.
Okay.
Except for the ones that
So
are available now.
These type of frets and this type of this and that.
Exactly.
All these 22 fret guitars.
21.
21 fret guitars.
Yeah.
Which is like a standard. Artellis, I guess those and Strats are 21 frets.
The original ones back in the 50s were all 21.
Okay.
Yeah, they do some 22 versions of them.
Okay.
Which I'm not offering at the moment, but eventually I'll get into.
How much does that change things? Just that extra, just a slightly longer neck?
They make the fretboard overhang the heel.
Okay.
So it's you can't really do very well with the one-piece neck since there's no fretboard. So, yeah, it's basically just adding a little overhang at the end of the neck and put one more fret in there. Doesn't change too much, but...
Sorry, I'm just like looking at all the guitars. I just realized
eye candy.
What's a standard like? This kind of stuff I've never like paid that. I can't even tell you my own custom fucking specs. But like what like neck length and radius and all that kind of like give us some specs on some of these.
Most of what I'm doing now is 9.5 inch radius and then like a pretty standard fret wire, which is 55 thousandths tall by 97, I believe.
That's what I was thinking.
That's what you need.
So I was going to say that, yeah.
I do 3 different fret wire sizes. Like I just call it vintage, modern, and jumbo.
Okay.
Which the vintage is a pretty typical acoustic fret wire. It's what they used in the 50s. A lot of what I do is based on what they were doing in the 50s.
Okay.
Just to the vintage spec. But it's not ideal for modern playing. Like the 7.25 inch radius is super round. Like the purple one, that's a super round radius.
Yeah. I like that, man. It's cool.
It works.
But you saying that's more modern though?
No,
Or
that's more
old school?
vintage, yeah.
With the fatter neck.
Right.
Right. With more kind of the V-ish sort of vibe.
But then it's got the jumbo fret wire on there, so it's a weird one.
I dig it though, man. I think I like that. Those fat necks and those jumbo.
Yeah.
Like I don't think about it a lot, like, but I just know when something's comfortable and like immediately, like obviously, like you're just drawn to that because it looks interesting and it's
Right.
but it looks kind of futuristic, like, and then you're just like, oh, like that should be a Billy Gibbons guitar.
Yeah. I could see him playing that one.
I love the color on that one. That was great.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And these are just none of these are like custom job. These are just ones you built that.
Yeah, just
you make
showcasing
these
options.
decisions, like,
Exactly.
right, okay, cool.
Basically, so people can come up here and play different versions of what I do.
Right. And then they could say, okay, I want these frets. I want this color. I want
Exactly.
this and that. Okay.
You can test out the different pickups and see what they like.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. Cool. I'm excited to just spread the word and be like, you got to go to this guy's place and play.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Like, just for sure, dude. Like,
it's a cool hangout up here.
It's super cool.
Oh, yeah.
The instruments are quality. I mean, they're phenomenal. You've got this great setup that's comfortable with fantastic tones. So you can just come up here and like really get a feel for the instruments. Not through some piece of shit amp either.
Right.
You know, like you're like, okay, like you can get a sense of what it's going to sound like, you know, for real on stage.
Exactly.
You can turn it up, you can crank up.
Pretty soon I'll be building basses too.
Oh, cool.
Getting that down the pipeline. So I'm looking into some bass amps too, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah. Do you have body style?
I'm going to start off just doing like the standard P bass, which is popular.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's sticking true to like the Fender roots. Mm-hmm. So
my fiance will be happy to hear that. She's like, she's a big Spectre fan, which I love Spectre.
Oh, yeah.
I played some of her basses, and they're fantastic. But she's like, everyone always plays P basses.
Yep.
She's like, why does everybody just play P basses?
Tried and true.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, dude, like Fender gear in general, I'm a huge fan because it's just like, very rarely have I played anything Fender-wise that wasn't like, you know, both amps and instruments alike that you're like, that feels good, sounds good.
Right.
You know, it's just like,
they've been doing it a long time. They know what they're doing.
yeah, exactly. Minimal and Rivera spun off of that, you know,
right?
A lot of that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, dude. Anything else you want to add? Let's run down those.
Yeah.
You got something?
No, I was just going to ask any acoustic or any plans.
Eventually, I do want to get into acoustics. That's definitely a long ways down the road.
Yeah.
There's so many more tools, and time to make them is just exponentially more difficult.
Your shop downstairs looks pretty efficient, so imagine if you did acoustic, you probably have to add some more tools.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Change a lot of things around. Yeah. But I mean, 8 years at Collings only making acoustics. I can make a good acoustic.
Good deal.
But one day.
And I imagine in the future you would probably want to bring in other guys and expand like that and kind of create a team.
Definitely. As soon as the orders pick up, then I'm going to delegate tasks out so I can kind of just run things and oversee everything going on and get them moving out the door quicker.
Hell yeah, man. Cool, dude. And it's doubledayguitars.com.
Yes.
The website.
Yes.
Obviously easy to find on the socials.
Right.
Definitely follow on Instagram. Most of what I see is like on your Instagram.
Yeah, that's definitely my main platform.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff where you're showing your finished builds, but also the process and like really cool videos where you're kind of showing what you're doing, the making of it.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah, it's cool. It's very cool, man. It's just like, and I'm just not that kind of guy. Like I've never been the like guy that's like, oh, here's a bunch of stuff. Let me figure out how to put it together. I'm just like, is that thing done? I'll play it now.
Yeah.
It's cool to watch like the building process and seeing someone that, you know, all the things that go into it. I like that you're showcasing all that too,
right?
Which is phenomenal. Like you're here building 12 hours a day, and then you're talking about that. It's like 2 full-time jobs,
and then running the social media,
putting the social media stuff out there is another aspect, man. But it looks great, dude.
It's all good fun.
Let's jam for just a few more minutes.
Yeah.
So we can wrap up.
Cool.
Gosh, yeah.
The skunk version of that one.
Right.
Like the color.
It's just black and that being white.
Yeah.
Sure. It's not the player, it's the guitar.
so much of that is just like just me, but the inspiration you get playing on a great instrument, you know, you're automatically just inspired to play. It makes you play better. Now the rest of the interview would just be me dicking around on your guitar. Cool, dude. Thank you. Jump back in here. Yep.
So, like you said, you've never played guitar before. You just picked that up.
I just picked this guitar up.
And it just
plays itself.
It's worth the extra money because you don't have to ever take guitar lessons.
Yeah,
that's right. Pick up the guitar.
You're going to be out of a job.
You can play.
Yeah.
That's why AI is already putting this all out of jobs anyway. So whatever. Just go get your Doubleday guitar. You don't even need lessons. Dude, Walker, thank you, man. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for coming.
Awesome.
Very nice to meet you, Vic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing guitars. Everybody go check out Doubleday Guitars. Super cool guy, hard worker, fantastic instruments. It just doesn't get better than this. And
thank you.
Cool.
You're what Austin should be about, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So thanks for joining us. I am losing my voice, Vic. If you want to, I'm all choked up.
You're all choked up from the.
Bring a tear to your eye.
Well, it's just because I wanted to play guitar my whole life, and then I just picked up this Doubleday guitar, and like all of a sudden I could play.
You can play.
It's like I'm about in tears right now.
Yeah. So that's it for another episode of the Eclectic Soundtrax podcast. Big shout out to our friends, which I think we already called out. So come train with me at Atomic Jiu-Jitsu. Follow Skunk with all his however 50 million projects that you're doing.
That's not that many. It's like 3 or 4.
Yeah, it's like, is it 3 or 4?
I've whittled it down.
And then, of course, Walker, doubledayguitars.com.
Yes, check them
out.
Instagram. We'll have some B-roll with the shop, the paint booth, all that other good stuff around here.
And any of these, like, there's so many great guitarists here, man. I really want to like hit these guys up and be like, go to this guy's shop, man, and play these instruments.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thanks for joining us, Walker.
Thank you.
Cool.
Awesome.
Until next time.
Laters. Hey folks, that concludes another episode of the podcast. Guest links will be available in the show notes. We'd like to thank our friends at Top Shelf Music for showcasing the podcast on their site. Be sure and check them out at topshelfmusicmag.com for the latest music news, reviews, and events. We'd also like to thank the folks over at Tragan Guitars, Godin Guitars, Ernie Ball Strings, and 5 Iron Woodworks. Have a great week and catch you on the next one.